lifestyle, prayer, meditation, yoga, all this can form part of the treatment package, because you're treating a being which is more than just a physical being.
Hay una mirada a la ciencia más como arte, el arte de sanar al otro. Y tengo la impresión que la medicina occidental ha privilegiado la ciencia como cúmulo de conocimientos sobre las enfermedades, descuidando a veces este arte de sanar.
The art of healing, yes. No, actually, there is a fundamental problem with the outlook of science. And science is about the study of nature. But who is studying nature? This is man who is studying nature. And the contradiction here is that how does man, who is a part of nature, study nature itself? How does a part study the whole? This is the contradiction of science. And the answer to that is that a part can only look at another part. A part cannot see the whole. And so the outlook of science is always inherently fragmented. It has to be by the very nature and method of science. And the problem then is to make it whole. And so anybody who comes up with an integrated theory, a unified theory, will get a Nobel Prize. Because you have a problem of integration. Because you always have a differential, a fragmented look. In all Oriental sciences, we study nature by becoming one with it. You cannot study nature by being apart. So between the observer and the observed, you try to bring a unity. And the mind is the instrument that can do this bridging. It is your mind, your senses will not bring you one with nature. It is your mind, when you attach to your soul, that you will become one with nature, and then you will see yourself. And that is a way to study nature. That is also scientific. But it's a higher science. It's a different kind of science. In the Western science, you use the mind only through the instrumentality of reason and intellect. But the mind is capable of much more.
Ahora, estaba pensando que para traer a Occidente y a la medicina occidental todo lo que nos enseña Oriente, se necesita una transformación cultural, de mentalidad, de concepción de la vida muy grande. ¿Cómo poder lograr el equilibrio en la medicina occidental si no cambiamos nuestra visión del mundo? ¿Cuál es la experiencia suya trabajando con Occidente o trayendo Ayurveda a Occidente de una posible cooperación o diálogo entre estas dos maneras de ver la enfermedad y el ser humano?
I think the situation is changing and the West is becoming receptive. The reason for this receptivity is that it is experiencing the limitations, context of medicine, it is experiencing the limitation of Western medicine. We know today that there are many conditions, particularly those of a chronic nature, particularly ailments of a systemic disorder that Western medicine cannot treat. And so it is experiencing this difficulty. And so it is looking for solutions elsewhere. So I think this is the right time to initiate dialogues. In fact, such dialogues were initiated almost a decade ago. You can see in the United States that they are spending in the National Institutes of Health a substantial amount of money for what they call complementary and alternative medicine. This happened about 10 years ago. So I think the receptivity is there. We need spokespeople knowledgeable people from the Eastern systems to conduct this dialogue confidently. The problem is that in India, in China, in Chile, take Chile, you have a traditional system of medicine. There is so little known about it in your own society. It is neglected. The carriers of that tradition have today, because of neglect, got a very low self-esteem. They're not confident to engage in dialogue. It is a similar situation with traditional medicine, different maybe in degree, in the rest of the world, in Africa, in India, in Asia, in Japan, in China.
¿Usted podría contar alguna experiencia en que haya visto a la medicina ayurveda operando y colaborando con la medicina occidental? ¿Algún ejemplo en que haya resultado, en que se pueda ver así gráficamente?
I think there are several specific examples where Western medicine and traditional medicine have worked together and achieved good results. But they are limited examples, they are small examples, they are not happening on a very large scale. For example, in the treatment of cancers, in Bombay we have a modern hospital where they have combined Ayurvedic treatment for improving the immunity while they are conducting the conventional cancer treatment of chemotherapy, and the combination of that chemotherapy and the immunological treatment of Ayurveda gives much better results to the patient. So, but these are small examples that are there in different fields. You have that in diabetes, you have it in HIV/AIDS, that you have on one hand the antiretroviral treatment, but for treating the syndrome of different diseases that happen due to the compromise of immunity, it is traditional medicine that is doing the work. And the net result is that the patient is much more functional, although he still remains a carrier of the virus.
¿Cuáles son las relaciones, brevemente, y diferencias entre Ayurveda y la medicina china, que conocemos más acá? ¿Cuáles son? ¿Hay puntos de contacto? ¿Son opuestas? ¿Son distintas? ¿Cuál es la comparación entre esas dos tradiciones?
I think there's a great deal of similarity, and historically there has been a great deal of interaction. We sometimes don't know whether acupuncture originated in China or whether it originated in India. And it's not important now to find out where it originated. But the fact is that they have interacted. We don't use acupuncture needles, but we use acupressure points. And the points are similar to the points in Chinese medicine. I had been to China 4 or 5 years ago, and I was talking to an ophthalmologist of Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine, and I was asking him, what are the books that you read on traditional Chinese ophthalmology? And he told me, reading out from the books, that in the Ming dynasty, which was in the 14th century, the emperor sent physicians from China to India. And the ophthalmology that is being practiced in China is based on what those physicians brought back to China. So historically there has been a great